State lawmakers are considering new restrictions on guns in Hawaii.
A new Senate bill would signify where and when people with a concealed carry permit could use those weapons.
KITV4's Tom George now joins us live from the Capitol. And Tom, not everyone's on board with this plan.
Yeah, that's right. Well, this is something that Hawaii has been forced to contend with ever since that Supreme Court case last year severely expanded gun rights here in Hawaii. Of course, here in Hawaii, up until then, we've had some of the strictest gun laws in the country. But after that Supreme Court ruling, it forced local police departments and counties to figure out how to implement those new rules. And so far, that's what's being done at the county level. They've begun the process of issuing those concealed carry permits to the applicants. But some people have criticized that process as arbitrary. They've also criticized it as being too slow. So what this bill would do is it would create more uniform standards throughout the state, and it would severely limit certain safe places where you would not be allowed to have a gun. A lot of those are pretty common sense that you see a lot of places like schools, government buildings, but it would also include places like public parks, schools, universities, a lot of restrictions on where those guns would be allowed. It also would not be allowed in any bar or restaurant that has an alcohol permit. And because of that, the Attorney General's office says they support this law because they say it balances the Second Amendment with these safety restrictions. But opponents say they feel that this bill is simply too broad.
The bill's targeted against law-abiding concealed carry holders. I don't see anything in here about criminals. There's nothing in here that directs anything about criminals who are out there committing crime that could care less about a sensitive place or a gun-free zone.
SB 1230 will help preserve the safe and welcoming character of our society while also respecting the reasonable exercise of Second Amendment rights.
Now, another somewhat controversial element of this bill is that, again, right now with these permits being issued, there's kind of arbitrary guidelines, but in this case, it would give counties a lot of leeway to decide who they think should be getting these permits. It gives the counties a lot of leeway to determine whether they think a person is unsafe to have a gun, looking into their mental health. But it also is, in a lot of cases, a judgment call on the county's part, looking into people's backgrounds and deciding whether they think that somebody poses a safety risk or not. But again, there's no specific criteria for that. A lot of leeway for the counties to sort of use their own judgment in figuring that out, whether as they approve those permits. So part of that, again, has critics of this, people that are supporters of gun rights, opposing this. Again, the Attorney General's office says they've gone through this law. They do support it. It does seem to have the support of lawmakers. And it does seem that it could be on track to pass with the Attorney General's office support. However, again, those opponents not vowing to quit that fight, they warned lawmakers today that if this passes, they foresee that it could lead to even more lawsuits like the one that led up to that Supreme Court ruling in the first place. Reporting live, Tom George, KITV4, Island News.